everyone, and welcome to Live with the Pricing Lady. I'm Janine Liston, your hostess, and I am so pleased to have you here with us today. I help entrepreneurs know what and how to charge their customers the right prices. So if you've been struggling with your pricing strategy, you're going to want to watch this, and maybe later on you'll even give me a call. But let's get into what we're going to talk about today. And my special guest I have with me today is Johan Franzen from AntNest. Welcome, Johan.
Thank you so much, Janine. It's a pleasure to be here.
Johan, why don't we start this out and give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell people about what you do?
So I'm Swedish by birth, but living in Geneva since a long time. I worked about 20 years for a big multinational, but left them 7 years ago and wanted to start my own company, had all the same issues like every other entrepreneur, and switched to the creation of AntNest. Ent is short for entrepreneurs, and Nest is like the home of entrepreneurs. And I consider myself as an entrepreneurship mountain guide, to say it simple. Yes.
An entrepreneurship mountain guide. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, it's a steep hill, right? Or even many steep hills to climb.
Usually it comes with a few hills and valleys in between along the way. That's for sure. Excellent. So actually, Johan and I met, I think it was about 2 years ago, actually. It's hard to believe.
I think so too.
In Geneva to the Expat Expo, I believe.
Exactly.
Well, it's the first time we met person to person. We met because I was doing some research. That's right. And I contacted you.
That's correct too. But then we have stayed in contact, and you are also inside of AntNest, of course, now, which is excellent. So we are doing something right together, I think, here.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, what I thought we'd start with is, a big part of pricing is your vision for the business, right? And this is something that sometimes people forget to include as part of what they're doing their pricing. So I'd like you to explain to us a little bit about your vision for AntNest, and then we can go into how that's played into what you're doing with your pricing strategy.
Yeah, so AntNest basically, I found that the world really, with or without the corona, we are going to be needing three things. A social media, which is based on a little bit higher ethics, values, and principles. We need more successful entrepreneurs everywhere, and we need more communication across the different silos. There are too many silos. And the big element in there, I think, when I sensed my way there, social media, it's sort of free, but nothing is for free, really. And I think that's actually a big part of the issues today. And that's also what I built into the pricing model then for AntNest.
Right.
So I think rather fair pay is fair play.
Yeah.
And that is a much, I think, ethical way of dealing with different scenarios and so on there.
Right. So why don't you tell us a little bit what you mean by fair pay is fair play?
Yeah, so I mean, today, of course, you can have some of the other social medias for free, right? But it then also means that they basically make all the revenue and so on there. And to me, that's not exactly fair. So I think that the better way would be, why don't we pay a little bit for different services? And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who really put a heck of a lot of effort into what they are passionate about. And then people say to them, well, I can get that for free on internet, right? But it's not really helping society or anything like that. So I think it's about, we're going to have to do some behavior change. And of course, behavior change is always tricky. But I think we see it also with the coronavirus and everything now, that we're going to have to look at doing things a little bit different. So yeah, you can have AntNest for free as a private person, but you can also subscribe. And the fair play or fair pay there then, I think, is 35 Swiss francs for 12 months. That's like 35 US dollars or 30 euros for 12 months. It's not even a pizza and a beer in Geneva. I think that's extremely fair for being connected with much more trustworthy people across the different silos that are out there, and people who really want to create more successful entrepreneurs.
So what are three words you would use to describe the value that people can get out of AntNest?
Good question. Three words. Yeah, I think mutual value. That's maybe two then, but let's say that was one. Mutual
Hyphenated.
value. Yeah, exactly. I think also trust in the profiles. There are no fake profiles, no spamming, no scamming. Everybody is really focused on creating success for each other and together with others. And I think also accountability, which I think we see way too little of in the world today. There's a lot of talk and many times monologues. So AntNest, we want to get to dialogues and really taking action and creating mutual value.
So if I were to put this in, because, of course, the viewers don't necessarily know what AntNest is.
Sure.
So it's in my terms, and then you can correct me,
Yes.
is basically a social media platform of sorts. It's also a resource platform.
Yes.
It is by invitation only. So you can't just have an account there. You have to be invited by someone else. And then it's visible how you ended up and how you're connected to people through the platform itself, right? And so this has a very different value than some of the other platforms that are out there, right?
Yeah, very much so. So everybody can see who invited you after you have gone in, after you've had that invitation. And when you are inside, you can invite whoever you want. But the caveat is that you are going to be accountable for the people that you bring in. And that's really building a lot of trust and so on to a completely different level. So,
right. And I think the other important value piece in this community is that it is designed and built for the needs of entrepreneurs and business owners. And that in and of itself makes it a very different experience than some of the other platforms that are being, used for this purpose, but maybe aren't ideal for that purpose.
Exactly. You're saying it perfect. So I think I should hire you, right?
Well, no, I bring this up because I bring this up because it's always important to look at the price in the context of value, whether you're setting the price or you're looking to buy something. And the reason this is important is as soon as I say it's a social media platform, it'll turn the switch off for a lot of people.
Yes, I agree.
Because they already have more social media accounts than they can manage, especially if they're starting a business, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so as soon as you say that, and it happened, you and I have had this discussion, I was like, I don't have the capacity for another one. So I think it's important to put that in context. And then when you say it's trusted, there's accountability there, it's geared towards the needs of my community and what I'm looking to do, then I see the value in paying for an account.
Yeah, and also much more dialogue. I mean, look at, I don't want to name any other platforms or so, but I mean, it's a lot of one-way communication, right? And that's really painful to a lot of us, I think, and also all these friend requests and so on. And I have still to go in and not accept or whatever, and it takes a long time for me when I receive a lot of different things there. So I rather want to be in a platform that already from the beginning is a little bit more quality minded and where we really want to do things different. So dialogue is a key element. And we can all do so much better if we're just working together, right? I mean, you can never be an expert on everything, and you don't have time to do everything. So the best thing you can do is surround yourself with the right people, right? And that's what AntNest is. If you want to create your future, a better, more prosper and sustainable future, I think AntNest is the place for you.
Okay, so now looking at the pricing strategy, we've said, okay, AntNest, you can use it for free in a limited capacity. For a small fee, you can use it more heavily. But there's one part of your pricing strategy that you haven't mentioned yet, and that's the fact that it pays back into the community. Can you talk about how it does that?
There's a lot of things I haven't mentioned yet, but and I'm not sure we're going to get through all of those things. But
no.
So you as a person, free or 35 francs. You as a venture, 99 Swiss francs per year, which is again
what do you mean
quite
by venture?
So your company, if you have started your own project, your own company, and so on, and if you're representing a support organization like a co-working space or an incubator, accelerator,
Mm-hmm.
um, multinational educational institute, and so on, the price
Right.
will or the investment will be a little bit higher
Mm-hmm.
still, but still pocket money, right?
Right.
So yeah, and the point here also, if you have a paid version, you
Mm-hmm.
are eligible to receive parts of the grants that we're giving out. And we have already from the beginning said that we are going to give back at least 51% of our profits.
Mm-hmm. There
Imagine
you
if
have it.
some of these big platforms would give back just 1%. I think that
Right.
we would feel a lot better about what is happening and so on
Right.
there, right?
Right.
And
And I think
so yeah, so
that's
that's
a
a
very
critical
important
element.
part. It
Yes.
is. It is an
Yeah.
important part, and it's
Yeah.
something that,
Yeah.
for your business. Now, I can't recall if you have a pricing page that's visible to the public or not, but if and when you do, it's those kinds of value statements that,
Yes.
it's trusted because it's by invite only, and we have the
Yes.
transparency.
Yeah.
And the people who have paid accounts can also then be eligible for grants to receive
Exactly.
back. And we're going to give
Exactly.
51%. Those types of value statements are the
Yes.
things that will entice the right
Yes.
people that you're looking for to actually pay for paid accounts and
Exactly.
support them.
So again, I need to hire you. That's quite clear, huh?
Well, what were some other strategies or pricing schemes that you had considered for AntNest?
Well, there were different things. We were considering advertisement spend and so on, but we didn't really feel that people are too interested in that. Of course, you can put in your offer or your need. We do
Right.
have a lot of different features and functions, as we already said. So from community elements to marketplace to event management to space booking to video conferencing, even
Mm-hmm.
loyalty system surveys, all kinds of different things. It's like
Right.
a Swiss Army knife for the entrepreneurship
For the
ecosystem, right?
entrepreneurship, that's a
Yeah,
great that's a great
yeah.
visual.
We're in Switzerland, right? So Swiss Army knife, or I'm from Sweden, so I could also have said it's like a smorgasbord with
Yeah,
different features and functions, right? But yeah, so I'll
exactly.
adapt based on
Okay.
who I'm
Okay.
speaking with. Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, so. And we also considered, okay, because a lot of people have actually said that when they have paid for a paid version, well, you could actually charge $1,000 for this, and I would still be happy because this is so valuable to me.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have come in and said, I've been a paid member in some of these other big platforms for
Mm-hmm.
many years, and already after 1 month in AntNest, I've already had much more value coming out than
Right.
from several years in other platforms.
Right.
So and it costs nothing to go in and check, right? So
Right. No,
that
it's
really it's a little bit of an investment in your time, and of course time is a very scarce resource in the beginning, but I think that you will find, of course, in the beginning, because AntNest is very big, so you might get a little bit overwhelmed there also.
Mhm.
It would be like if you would see one of these very big platforms for the first time today, you would be overwhelmed by them too. And the
Yeah.
same is probably going to be true for AntNest, but there's a lot of
Mhm.
people interested and willing in assisting you and
Right.
getting you through the
Yes.
early hurdles. And
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's
so
that's something also. I mean, because it's a newer platform, there is that support there.
yeah,
Let's go back to the strategy for a minute. So you had
yeah,
thought of obviously having higher prices,
yeah,
of having advertising, paid advertising, so
yeah,
as a revenue source.
yeah.
Any other
Yeah, there were more
strategies?
breakup. Maybe if you only want one or two different features, maybe we can do a separate price for
Yeah.
that. But and we were also considering local pricing, so to say.
Mhm.
So what we're doing right now is one price no matter where you are in the world.
Right.
So
Right.
I think 35 francs or US dollars is a very symbolic amount. If you're
Mhm.
interested in creating a better future for yourself, then I
Right.
think it should not, the amount should not stop anybody to
Shouldn't stop.
really, yeah. So that
Yeah.
was really the base for how we wanted to set this up. And then 35, it's 365 days per year, so 35, that's less than 10 cents per day, and I think that's a very I don't think there would have been a big.
I think that's the point there. Is that
exactly. That's
for
really
people,
it.
it really shouldn't be a hurdle.
If I would have said $50 or 60 or 75 or whatever, it's probably not a big difference in terms of how many people will use it. It's just that there would be more revenue to AntNest with a slightly higher. But I prefer to really have a symbolic amount. And then on top of that revenue, we are giving back at least 51% of the profit.
And that's where the fair pay for fair play comes in. So it's really,
both
and
those two
AntNest is
elements.
really about kind of sharing the love there and bringing that support back to the people who are basically driving the platform itself, right?
Exactly. And so the highest paying members are the support organizations. So it almost becomes also like sort of adopt an entrepreneur, right? Where they can pay a higher subscription fee, and then they can sort of support if they want to have, I don't know, a better last mile distribution in a new country where they are or whatever for their product or service. They might want to support people in a particular region or something like that. But it's all under development, and there will be more things like that. But clearly, the intent here is really fair play is fair pay.
Yeah, and I think that's that's a very it's honorable on the one hand. It's also, I think it's having your pricing strategy be a part of the brand of your business is something we're seeing coming more and more. Now, this is a slightly different context than I've seen it before, but it's a brilliant way to utilize something that, sometimes can be very off-putting to people in a way that actually might be enticing to them and lead them towards being part of the community.
Yeah. And I felt also that even without the current crisis that we all feel out there, there was a need for a change in mentality and attitude and finding your purpose in life and so on, right? So, we know all the big multinationals and so on are looking at the bottom lines. And money makes the world go round, but it can't come at the expense of either the employees or the communities, right? No matter if it's environmental or gender or whatever it is.
Well, it comes at a price when it does. That's
yes, and we need to remove that barrier, I think, and also entrepreneurs already today. The small companies are really hiring already the majority of the world's population, right? And that will become even more important going forward. Entrepreneurship is the future of work. There's so much talk about the future of work, and there's a lot of talks about the workers' rights and whatever. But I think we're forgetting the entrepreneurs out there, and they are not receiving the support that they deserve, frankly, from society and so on. The entrepreneurs are the people who are going to hire the people. We better support them so that they can create the jobs that people will need in the future, right?
Right.
So
that's fantastic. So I'd like to say hello to all of you who are out there joining us live. Welcome. We're going to wrap this up in a few minutes, but if you have any questions for Johan while we're here on the call, please go ahead and type them in the chat. Now, you've heard about AntNest. Just so you know, in the comments below, I have posted a link there, an invitation link, so that you can join if you'd like to. I'll have to go in and improve you joining.
Yeah.
So you better behave. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Go ahead, go over there and check it out. So Johan, I have a couple of final questions for you. And the first one is, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, what has been your biggest pricing learning over the years?
My biggest pricing learning, I mean, clearly you need to discuss with the clients. You can't really push anybody. They have to realize the value in whatever it is that you're selling, right? So I think pushing is not good, right? So
value first.
Yeah, value first. Show me the value. I mean,
Yeah.
show me the money is another famous line, but I think show me the value,
Show
right?
me the value. Show me the
Yeah,
value. All right. So we'll
yeah,
make sure that that gets in the comments below as well.
yeah,
Quote from Johan, show me the value.
yeah.
Okay. And what's one piece of wisdom that you'd like to share with business owners out there as they embark on their own journeys to run and
Yeah.
have
I
successful businesses?
I have seen and spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs or early aspiring entrepreneurs, and a lot of them have said, I have a great idea, really great idea. And I say then, okay, so tell me about it. And they said, no, I can't tell you because then you might steal my idea, right? And that's the biggest mistake I think you can do. That's really because of course if somebody has more money and so on, they might be able to implement and so on, but there's so much more to it than just the idea coming out in one sentence. And it's all about in the execution and implementation of the idea. So I'm willing and happily speaking about AntNest or any other ideas with anybody else there. And it's about finding the right people to have around you. Because as I said in the beginning,
Yeah.
you're never going to be an expert on everything, and you won't have time to do everything anyway.
It's
So you better
exhausting.
surround, you better
Yeah.
surround yourself with the right people, like
Yeah.
Janine, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, we've had great discussions here, but also discussions before regarding the overall pricing and so on. And I highly appreciate those
Yeah.
discussions, Janine. So thank you for that,
Likewise.
of course, also. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. I mean, we
yeah,
can't all
yeah,
do it alone. We can't all do everything.
yeah,
And making sure that you have the right people around you at the right
yeah,
times to support you and that you're open to
yeah,
that is a
yeah,
big part of
yeah,
this journey. One
yeah.
of the things that I noticed is that I thought that this was a more before I started my own business, I thought it was all about my career development. And then having been in it for 3 years now, I realized it's the biggest personal development journey I've ever been on.
Exactly. Yeah,
And it's
and
not, it doesn't stop.
no, and you have to have a passion. I mean, everything starts with passion.
Yeah.
Insights and passion are the two clear things, right? If you don't have any insights, it's hard to understand what you want to develop to change and so on there. So a rising tide lifts all the boats. I think that was
Yeah.
actually JFK who said that the first,
Okay.
but it really goes for the entrepreneurship community also.
Right.
And if we just get together, we can be that rising tide. And if
Right.
we support each other, we can lift all those boats, and we would all do so much better together than what we're all trying to do
Right.
by ourselves, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I think on that note, where can people reach out to you? I know this is sort of a silly question, but
Well, you can find me in yeah, exactly. AntNest, of course. You should definitely log in. Use the link by Janine.
right?
She will, I'm sure,
Yeah.
recommend you and so
You
on
can
there.
also
And yeah, exactly.
JanineListon.com/AntNest. You can also use this link to get your
Yeah.
invite to AntNest.
Yeah, and you will find a fabulous community of really helpful people who are very similar to whoever you are. I mean, entrepreneurship is without boundaries, right? And doesn't matter the gender, the nationality, your field of interest, or how far you've come. We all need to be surrounded by the right people, and
Right.
that's the spirit.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Johan, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
Yeah. And to all of you who are watching or who will be watching later on, thank you for joining us this week. And I wish you all the best. Until next time, everyone, enjoy pricing.
Yes. Take care. Bye-bye.